Breaking: Brebner Changala slams President Hichilema. Zambia has become a global embarrassment. Good day, viewers.
Welcome to another edition of the InspirAfrica official.
I'm Nakash. You know, it's been one of those weeks where the African sun feels a little heavier on our shoulders. Friday the 7th of November 2025, and the headlines are screaming louder than the cicadas at dusk. But today, we're diving straight into the fire. Brebner Changala, Zambia's unyielding voice for justice, unleashes a thunderbolt. Hichilema has turned Zambia into a global embarrassment. A man who once championed the Copperbelt's dreams now stands accused of dragging an entire nation into the abyss of hypocrisy. Imagine this: a leader, hailed as Africa's beacon of democracy, steps onto a stage ringed by soldiers, their rifles glinting like accusations under the Tanzanian sun. He smiles, he claps. He congratulates a regime born in blood and ballots stuffed with shadows. But back home, the echoes of silenced screams from Dar es Salaam ripple across borders, a grim reminder that power's price is often paid in lives. Over 800 souls, snuffed out in the name of victory. Is this the Zambia we knew, the cradle of freedom since 1991, now bartering its soul for a seat at the tyrant's table? Or has the defender of the oppressed become the enabler of the oppressor? What happens when a president's handshake drowns out the cries of the crushed? When SADC's own report brands an election a sham, yet one voice from Lusaka rises to polish the stains. Who pays the toll for this diplomatic dance with dictators? The youth marching in Lusaka's streets, or the ghosts of Tanzania's polling stations? And in the dead of night, as the world watches Africa stumble once more, does Hakainde Hichilema stare into the mirror and see a symbol of shame staring back? The stakes couldn't be higher. Zambia's honor hangs by a thread, and the unraveling could tear the fabric of our shared African destiny apart. The revelation came to light just yesterday, on November 6, 2025, when human rights activist Brebner Changala, speaking from the heart of Lusaka, Zambia's bustling capital, dropped a bombshell that has reverberated through the corridors of power and the streets alike. Changala, a veteran campaigner who's locked horns with regimes for decades, didn't mince words in a pointed interview with a mass newspaper. His target: President Hakainde Hichilema, the man many once saw as Zambia's democratic savior. To understand the spark, we rewind to the powder keg in neighboring Tanzania. Late October 2025. Elections there erupt into chaos. Opposition voices are muzzled, internet blackouts blanket the nation, and reports flood in of brutal crackdowns. Over 800 civilians gunned down in the streets of Dar es Salaam and beyond, all to secure President Samia Suluhu Hassan's grip on power. The Southern African Development Community, SADC, Zambia's own regional family, steps in swiftly. Their preliminary report, issued within days, brands the vote a sham, riddled with irregularities, voter suppression, and state-orchestrated violence. It's a scathing indictment, echoing across Harare to Pretoria, calling for accountability, not celebration. Enter November 3, 2025. Dodoma, Tanzania's arid administrative heart, transforms into a fortress. Heavy security cordons off the inauguration venue, tanks on standby, snipers on rooftops, the air thick with the scent of cordite and fear. Against this backdrop, President Hichilema jets in from Lusaka, the only major SADC head to show. He mounts the podium, microphone in hand, and delivers a glowing congratulatory speech. Leadership must coexist with its citizens, he intones, words that twist like a knife in the wound of the dead. No mention of the bloodshed, no nod to SADC's verdict, just effusive praise for Hassan's victory, framing it as a triumph of stability over strife. The fallout simmers overnight. By dawn on November 4th, whispers turn to outrage on Zambian social media and in opposition circles. Harry Kalaba, leader of Citizens First, publicly distances himself, calling the speech an embarrassment to democratic ideals. But it's Changala who ignites the blaze 2 days later. In a raw, unfiltered exchange with reporters, he lays bare the timeline of what he calls Hichilema's hypocrisy of the worst kind. A pattern, he argues, etched over 4 years of selective diplomacy. Skipping Cyril Ramaphosa's inauguration in South Africa earlier this year, boycotting Emmerson Mnangagwa's in Zimbabwe, ghosting Peter Mutharika's in Malawi, even no-showing the UN General Assembly and Khamisa's 30th anniversary. Yet here he is, spotlighting a bloodied throne. Step by calculated step, the narrative unfolds. From election night horrors to podium platitudes to Lusaka's righteous fury, exposing cracks in Zambia's once unassailable democratic facade. Now, let's turn to the voices at the epicenter, the unvarnished words that cut through the spin. Brebner Changala didn't hold back in his November 6th interview, his tone a mix of weary disbelief and fiery resolve, as if the weight of decades in the trenches pressed on every syllable. Speaking directly to the masked reporter, he unpacked the betrayal with the precision of a prosecutor, pausing only to let the gravity sink in. Look, for him to go to Tanzania, to go and endorse a sham election, to go to Tanzania and endorse brutality by the government against its own people, to go to Tanzania in the name of the people of Zambia, to go and lecture on how nations can coexist or how leadership can coexist with its own citizens. That's a fallacy, you know?
Detesse. Hypocrisy of the worst kind.
Hichilema is on his own. He leaned in then, his voice dropping, eyes narrowing as if staring down the president himself. The reporter pressed, "But isn't this just diplomacy, Mr. Changala? Regional solidarity?" Changala shook his head, a bitter laugh escaping. Solidarity? With killers? No, the president must be told that it is high time he stopped using the name of the people of Zambia to engage in issues that do not serve the interests of our public. And one of them is the endorsement of the election of a dictator, the president of Tanzania. That has been rebuked across the divide in Zambia and in the Southern African Development Community, SADC. A brief silence, then he hammered home the contradiction, his words tumbling faster now, laced with that raw, unpolished urgency of a man who's seen too many freedoms crushed. Zambia is a member of SADC, and SADC has produced a report calling those elections a sham. So, who was he representing in Tanzania? Whose interest was he representing in Tanzania? And this is very clear that President Hakainde Hichilema has a poor level of judgment in terms of sound leadership. The president is exposing himself and embarrassing the country. This isn't isolated rhetoric. It's a crescendo built on patterns. Changala circled back to Zambia's storied legacy, his delivery slowing for emphasis, repetitions underscoring the loss. HH is now a symbol of shame for Zambia. This country has been known to be a defender of human rights. Zambia has always been on the side of the people of Palestine. Mr. Hichilema has taken Zambia to Israel, the oppressor. Zambia has always been a defender of the oppressed people of the Sahrawi. Mr. Hichilema has taken the country to Morocco. On the international stage, we have lost it. At home, we are in a mess. What emerges here isn't just anger. It's evidence of a leader adrift, his absences from global stages like the UNGA or Ramaphosa's swearing-in speaking louder than his Dodoma applause. Changala rapped with a plea laced in warning. Mr. Hakainde Hichilema must take time to reflect and consult widely on many issues. What the president has done in recent months has left a lot of things open to debate. I hope the international community is closely watching Hichilema's conduct. These words, raw and repetitive, hang like smoke from a fire we can't ignore. But what does this strike from Changala truly unearth? Beyond the podium and the protests, it peels back Zambia's veneer as Africa's democratic lodestar, revealing fault lines that threaten to swallow the region whole. Since 1991, when multi-party winds swept Kenneth Kaunda aside, Zambia positioned itself as the continent's moral compass, hosting liberation fighters, championing human rights, whispering courage to the silenced. Hichilema's 2021 ascension amplified that glow, with Western allies toasting his new dawn. Yet 4 years in, as Changala laments, that light flickers, domestic arrests of critics, economic squeezes on the press, and now this, cozying up to SADC-condemned sham, casting Zambia as complicit in the very authoritarianism it once condemned. Reactions pour in like monsoon rains, polarized and potent. From the activist flank, Hopewell Chinono, the Zimbabwean journalist exiled for his own truths, didn't hold back on X. This is heartbreaking. This is what imposters like Hichilema have gone to congratulate and sanitize. A blood-soaked tragedy dressed up as democracy. So sad and shameful. How can anyone with a conscience applaud such horror? Zambian scholar Sishiwa echoed the chill, tweeting on November 4th. There is just something very dark about Hichilema. He does not stand with the victims, linking it to Zambia's pro-Israel pivot and Morocco alignment, choices that sideline the oppressed for pragmatic gains. Opposition voices like Harry Kalaba pile on, decrying the speech as a disaster that embarrasses Zambia's youth. Yet from the ruling United Party for National Development, UPND, camp and pro-Hichilema commenters, the retort is swift: pragmatism over purity. One anonymous defender in the Zambian Observer's threads argued, boycotting wouldn't solve issues. Look at US-Japan post-World War II. Ties heal wounds. They frame Dodoma as regional cooperation, not capitulation, accusing Changala of perpetual bitterness that blinds him to Hichilema's economic wins amid global headwinds. Political analysts split the difference. Ethical questions loom large. Does endorsing brutality undermine SADC's credibility? Legally, no breach, but procedurally, it flouts the AU's charter on democratic norms. Ambiguities linger. Was Hichilema's absence from Zimbabwe or Malawi a principled boycott of rogue regimes or selective isolationism? Unresolved. How many more sham handshakes before Zambia's 2026 polls turn inward? This connects to a graver systemic rot. Africa's leaders, time and again, trade solidarity with the abused for photo ops with abusers, perpetuating a cycle where democracy becomes diplomacy's casualty. Tanzania's ghosts haunt Lusaka's streets. Will Zambia reclaim its voice, or fade into embarrassed silence? Thank you, viewers, for joining me on this unflinching journey through Zambia's moment of reckoning. Your attention honors the truths we chase together. What do you make of Changala's strike? Is Hichilema's Dodoma gamble a fatal misstep, or savvy realpolitik? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's spark the dialogue that leaders too often dodge. Hit that like button if this stirred you, subscribe for more unfiltered dives into Africa's pulse, and share to wake a neighbor. Civil rights activist Brebner Changala has ignited a national debate after calling President Hakainde Hichilema a symbol of shame, accusing his administration of eroding Zambia's democratic values. In this video, we break down what Changala said, why it matters, and how both the UPND and opposition parties are reacting. From international perception to domestic policy, we analyze the implications of his explosive remarks on Zambia's democracy and political stability. Watch till the end as we explore whether Changala's criticism reflects genuine concern for democracy or a political shift ahead of the 2026 elections. We'll return tomorrow, Saturday the 8th, with fresh dispatches from the continent's front lines. Until then, stay vigilant, stay inspired. I'm Nakash. Good day, and keep the fire burning.